Hello to everybody in the chat. As usual, I'm here with the next episode of Excellent Conversations, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host uh, co-host Arl, and I hope and I hope String out in the
Yeah.
card, but I shall behave himself
Well,
tonight.
usually it has its
Yeah,
funny day, and then I'm all right for a few streams, and then it wants to act an idiot again. So hopefully it's
yeah,
okay today.
yeah. Awesome. So how are you?
Good. We actually had sunny weather today in England. It was
Yeah,
like a revelation. It was hot. I didn't have to wear a coat or anything when I was at work.
yeah. Awesome. I'm here for the very first time on my channel. Is a is a Scottish and YouTuber that specializes in classic TV. It's PJMaybe and a very and a and a, ve- and a very big hearted hello to the channel. So I'm happy to have you on tonight. So I hope you enjoyed taking part in the conversation. So to kick things off, PJ, you're a YouTuber like myself. Do you want to tell the audience um a bit about your um, um channel and the type of content that you put on to YouTube and can try up here?
Not a problem, Daniel, and thank you for inviting me on. And it's a pleasure to finally join you. I have watched your channel. PJ I'm a bit of a geek, but my channel mainly deals with old TV and movies. I like watching classic stuff. As I say, I'm not old, I'm classic. This is
Yeah,
just obviously I just painted this on to make me look older. But I basically do reviews of TV shows, movies from the bygone era,
yeah,
anything black and white, carry on movies, basically anything prior to about 20 years ago. It's things from my youth. I know I'm old, but sometimes it's even things that are older than I am. I review because I grew up watching them all in repeats and such like.
yeah.
And I do like my fandom, as anybody that's seen my man cave can test.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to join you.
Yeah. So as a, so as so as I'm a big fan of who as well as you probably already documented and killed opinionated what Charlotte can attest to, and that's because of Jerry I've had them very in-depth conversations behind the scenes with obviously Charlotte what have you, and Charlotte's just um just off it on the kill classic stories. So like to kick things off on the to kick things off in the conversation. So can you tell me maybe some of your favourite kill classic who's stories, PJ, and who's your favourite favourite classic interpretation of the Orc?
The thing is, I'm a big Tom Baker fan. I've cosplayed as Tom a number of times.
Yeah.
I basically, my favourite story is not a Tom Baker story, believe it or not. It's Patrick Troughton, the War Games.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I love that.
I love the War Games, but then again, I love Jamie. James Robert McCrinnan. You can't actually beat a good Scot.
Yeah.
Even though he's from the north of England. But you can't beat a good Scot.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to this, I actually sat and watched a good 10 episodes or 10 stories leading up to it over the weekend. So I watched the Censorites, William Hartnell's, which I quite enjoyed. I think it's one of William Hartnell's best ones, as far as I'm concerned, but that's all I care about, as far as I'm concerned. And War Games as well, Patrick Troughton's. I think it is just such a good story. The thing I like about War Games in particular is they don't pander to not understanding. Like, for instance, the war part. Have you seen War Games? I'm assuming you've both seen it.
I haven't yet.
I've seen it.
I'll try not to spoil too much. But basically, there's the parts where they see the German or the French soldiers. And they actually speak German and French. They don't give it anything else. You have to try and work out. And the people who are talking to them don't quite understand it or use school French to try and communicate with them. They don't pander it by giving you what they're saying and so you understand it. You have to work it out because it's a story that this is what happens. You have to learn. So they don't tell you what they're saying. They don't actually use a universal translator within the TARDIS at that point. And then I went on to John Pertwee's one. It was a unit one. What one did I watch? Can't even remember the name of it.
That's not helpful for Pertwee. It was a unit one.
Yes, but no, it was.
The majority of them have.
Believe it or not, anything with the Brigadier in it. Doesn't matter what show. I just love the Brigadier. Brigadier is one of my favourite characters. So, like for instance, I watched Battlefield. Sylvester McCoy.
Oh Brigadier. I enjoy that.
That to me is just such a good one as well. And yes, you've got the alternate Lister from Red Dwarf in it. She plays the Brigadier in it as well. Which also in War Games, did I take it you've watched Red Dwarf?
I've seen clips.
You've seen clips. Well, if you've not seen it, you won't. Yeah, well, if you don't know who the Cat Priest is, that makes sense. But there's early Red Dwarf, you get a Cat Priest who comes in, who the Cat, Danny John Jules. Sort of, it's the same guy who played the General in War Games, the one with the glasses. The same actor.
Well, the BBC did sort of at that point, it was sort of like a revolving door from what I can understand. If you're in one hit show or big show, you tended to pop up in another one.
So with John Pertwee's, I'm just trying to remember what it was. Planet of Spiders. I watched Planet of the Spiders.
Oh, I watched that on Friday.
It was Planet of the Spiders, which basically it was his last one, and I watched Patrick Troughton's last one, so I thought might as well watch Planet of Spiders as well, because a couple of my favourite ones from the Peladon ones, but I watched them a couple of weeks ago, so I thought I'd try something different, sort of mix it up a bit. So it was Planet of the Spiders. Yes, the spiders look terrible, but still a fun story. And then I went on to Tom Baker. I did. I'm actually just at the last wee part of my favourite one, which is the horror of Fang Rock. I love that story.
Oh, that is an absolutely fantastic story.
Yeah, I did enjoy that one. And then I watched Tegan's first and last ones. So I did. So there was Legopolis, where Tegan comes in. It's the Tom Baker one, and I quite enjoy that one, but I do like Tegan's character. Very abrasive to some. Very abrasive to some, but I grew up with 3 older sisters, so I was used to that.
You and Daniel are going to have an argument now.
I'm not a very big fan of
Oh no, I can understand. I can understand that, no problem. But I grew up with 3 older sisters, so that abrasiveness, it just reminded me of my sisters. So I was okay with it, and it's basically because of that I do like the stronger characters, and I thought her character being abrasive would make her a stronger character, because it wasn't early Doctor Who. A lot of the female characters were there to be the damsel, and she was never a damsel. And that's what I liked about her. It was the fact is, yes, she would get into trouble, she would get in it, but she was never the damsel. It's the same as Leela. Loved Louise Jameson's Leela.
She is absolutely fantastic.
It's a very strong character that actually. It basically, she wasn't the one always getting into trouble. She might cause the trouble, but she was never getting into the trouble, or she knew how to get out of the trouble in her own way.
Yeah.
Even if she had to go against the magic. So obviously, I watched that one, which I enjoyed it just for the simple fact is it brings her in, but it's a bit silly with the way it brings her in and the things she does.
Yeah.
And then obviously going on to her final one, which was what was the one she finished on? Resurrect? Was it Resurrection of the Daleks?
Tegan.
The Resurrection of the Daleks.
Daleks, yeah. And that also brought me into another character I quite enjoyed, which was Leighton.
Yeah, he's a fantastic character as well.
And then once I'd finished with that one, I'd gone on to Colin Baker's one, The Attack of the Cybermen, which was Leighton again. So he was back in it. So he's been in it twice. So I basically just went through a lot of them, and I just basically quite enjoy watching them every so often. I dig out my DVDs and watch them from start to finish occasionally. But sometimes it's just a case of I'll dig out a DVD and just watch one of my favourite ones. So I do like the classic. I do like. I must admit, I have watched a lot of the new stuff, but I found that. So I would watch it and then I would get the DVD.
Yeah.
But as it got on, I realised the DVDs from the new stuff were all still in the packs. I'd never watched them after the first time they were on.
Yeah.
And that's just a case of the stories were just, I classed it as all flash, no bang. Basically, the story could have been condensed into a small 2-minute, 10-minute section, and the rest of it was just all flash, bang, look at this. And and the one that got me to the point where I thought, I can't really watch this anymore, was the Matt Smith one. He walks in after basically people are disappearing. He walks through a wall, gets his sonic screwdriver out and goes, dude, and tells you everything it does, everything that's going to happen and how to fix it. And I thought, that was the story.
Out which one that was.
It was the one they were in a hospital and the
were there cubes in it?
I don't know.
The Power of Free written by our favourite long time.
But I can't remember what it was, but all I remember really about it was there was a spaceship, and to enter a spaceship you had to go through a wall, and I think the wall was in the lift in a hospital.
Yeah, Power Free.
Free. So basically he walks through, gets his sonic screwdriver out, goes and tells you what they're doing, tells you how to stop it and fixes it, and tells you the whole story they learned. And I'm sitting there thinking, why not just tell us the story within a story rather than using the sonic screwdriver? And I thought it's getting to the point where they're not even actually trying anymore. They're just basically coming out. And that's the way I look at it, because I had realised the effects in the old ones are terrible. But it's like watching a play John Stay.
Yeah.
A play John Stay, a play on stage. I'll need to put my new teeth in so I can get the words proper. But that's the way I look at it, is I don't expect it to be fantastic. Oh, the new stuff, the CGI, the effects are superb. Not denying that. They're really good. But I like the story, so even watching a play on stage, I don't expect it to be real, but I expect the story to take me away. So a longer story and getting into it, rather than bang, there you go, and then tell you everything that happened and without explaining how they got there. Yeah. And I stopped watching it before the end of Capaldi. I started watching it again when Capaldi came in, because I do like Peter Capaldi.
Yep.
But I just found that the stories just didn't. I would be sitting watching it and doing something else on my phone, something, and I realised I just didn't watch them anymore. So,
can I ask then, was there any that did stand out? Because I've heard a few people like you say that, but they'll say, "Oh, but there was some episodes that really were brilliant." Yeah, any
School Days there. Let's see.
School Reunion.
It was only School Reunion. It was because she was in it, and it was because her and K9 were in it. That was it. There's none of them that I've watched more than once except School Reunion, and I have a copy of School Reunion somewhere.
Yeah.
How did you feel about their treatment of Sarah Jane then, and bringing that classic character back? How did you feel about that?
I thought it just sort of seemed to be a case of, it was quite dismissive at the end. They sort of gave the, it's good to see you, glad to see you. Then they went, and oh, here's K9. And that's how I felt. It's almost like it was it could have been such a nice way to say cheerio to a beloved character, because she had her own show, so the Doctor wouldn't have seen her after that. Yeah. But within the Doctor, so if you've not watched Sarah Jane Adventures, it would mean nothing to you. But if you've only watched Doctor Who, and there was such an iconic character, a way to say cheerio and give her such a big send off, and it just seemed to be a Sarah Jane, bye, away. And I was quite. It was lovely seeing Liz Slaton again, but it wasn't as well executed as I would have hoped it would have been.
Right.
It's just that I was hoping for more. So
that's a comment actually. On the subject of Elizabeth Sladen, have you actually seen any of the episodes of Sarah Jane Adventures?
I saw a couple of them when they were on at the time. I have got a couple of DVDs there. I watched one or two. I didn't like The Sun initially. But a couple of later on, it was a bit more. But I've only watched them a couple of times, and it was years ago. I have got them on my list to rewatch the whole thing. So by the end of whenever, I will have watched them, probably over the next couple of weeks, because I was watching Babylon 5. I was watching it with Heels versus Babyface and Your Nerdrotic. I was rewatching them, but with Gary being away, so I put a hold on that until they can catch up, because I'm already about 10 episodes ahead of them already. So
yes, you don't want to get too far ahead.
I don't want to get too far. So what I'll do is I'll take that out and put the Sarah Jane in, and actually watch that from start to finish. All five seasons.
Well, for 5 seasons, although season 5 and season 5 kind of didn't it can kill. It unfortunately is a probably might like is because it was still because it was still because there was still a couple of stories in that season that are still to be completed, and they also had commissioned the seasons the seasons X after that as well. I've actually talked about that. I've actually talked about out the series in adventures extensively on my channel with my friend Bill, who on it, who you were making who um who you gave making jealous with the Capaldi. I guess that then because he's a massive Capaldi fan. But on the subject again, no, like she does kind she does she does kind of get reintroduced into the into even Emmett incarnation and Sarah Jane Adventures as well, and she moved.
He was in a couple of episodes, wasn't he?
Yeah, there was the wedding one he was in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think which other ones.
Yeah, because
I haven't seen any of those ones. I just knew he had appeared in a couple of episodes, but I didn't know what ones.
Yeah, because Matt appeared in one, so she did get to play against 11.
Yeah.
Was it a better episode than School Reunion?
Well, I don't want to spoil it, but the setup, I think you'll enjoy the Matt setup episode, but I won't say anything else because I don't want to spoil it.
Good stuff. I will definitely watch it over the next couple of weeks. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and there's with them episode as other sort of special.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to spoil it.
Which I'm not going to spoil for you, but like there's another special guest appearance that they might enjoy. So anything I've chatted won't spoil that for PJ or like the Scottish.
I'll not look at the chat.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't sound silly, but see, spoilers. I can walk into the last 10 minutes of a movie, sit down, enjoy the last 10 minutes, and then watch the movie from the start again, and it doesn't spoil it for me. I can watch spoilers. I can watch the spoilers because see all these DVDs behind me. I've watched them multiple times. I enjoy watching them again and again. So things don't spoil programs for me. If I know what's going to happen, it's the story to get there. That's the part I like. Yeah. So I can watch the last 10 minutes of something and then go back and then watch it and then enjoy it just as much as if it was the very first time I'd seen it. Because that's why I watch my DVDs. That's why I've got the DVDs of Red Dwarf. I've got the Jonathan Creek. I've got Star Trek. I've got the Star Wars movies. I could just keep rewatching them because I enjoy rewatching them because it's the story it gets me.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm sort of a bit of a silly one because I told don't spoil it, and then I realised it makes no difference. Somebody could tell me how it happens, who's there, and I'll still enjoy it. It doesn't spoil it for me. I'm really weird that way. I am aware of that. I've been told I've been weird for a long, long time.
Well, at least your friends know they're safe to talk around you, because I'm bad at just blurting stuff out. And after I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry. I'm so bad for that.
Reviews. Sorry, Daniel.
I'm this because every sort of review that I've basically that I've basically spoken about. I just want to character development and all the
And character development's what it's all about. It's basically that's what grabs us. If you think about it, if there's a bland character, you might see a bland character coming in and going, and you would think, really? But it's the character development which makes the show interesting. It's the same as like fandom. Like you've got the split in the fandom. You pick a fandom, there's a split in it. Doesn't matter if you're talking about old programs, new programs. Like when I was a teenager, you had maybe a bit older than a teenager. I can't remember that far back. But you had the Star Wars fans and the Trekkies, and basically they would get at each other just slagging. That's rubbish. This is better. That's rubbish. This is better. You always had that. And the way I look at it is, if we all enjoy the same thing, what's the point? There'll be one program. There would be one singer. There would be. It's the way I look at it is, everybody should have a separate fandom because that's what makes it interesting. We can have the same fandom, but you might like something I don't like. That doesn't make what you like wrong or what I like wrong. It just makes what I like different and what you like different. Or we're all sitting watching one program. You've seen Idiocracy?
No.
I've heard of it. I've not seen it.
Watch Idiocracy. Basically, it's how as the IQ drops across the globe for different things, their favourite program is Ass. They all watch it, and it's just an ass farting the whole time, and that's their favourite program. There's only one favourite program, and that is it. Well, there is another one, but I can't say it because it's a bit more rude. But they're basically that's it. So everybody watches this. They go into the cinema and sit there for hours watching this one thing, and to me that would be boring if everybody liked the same thing. The entertainment value is us all having different fandoms.
Because initially how I came even a terrible for us PJ was because I had just finished and I had just finished in the 2004 and the 2004 and like you said to me that you preferred to the original series because am I right in saying that you found that you found the 2004 version a bit too I didn't basically arc.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think a lot of newer stuff I find is nihilistic. It's basically a very dark look at things. Whereas, is it Katie Sackhoff played? She played Starbuck.
Yeah.
Right, but you had the Faceman from the A-Team, Dick Benedict played Faceman, and the change. I watched it, but I only watched a couple of episodes. And I just could not get into it because I found it very dark. But some of the characters were just as good, if not better, than the originals because the characters seemed to have a bit more fleshed out. However, the dark, nihilistic way it was portrayed is just not for me. I cannot. I like watching something that cheers me up, and that's something that I'm sitting there going, really? Yeah. It's just not the type of thing I want to watch. It's the same as Spider-Man. a big Spider-Man fan. I always have been, but the Spectacular Spider-Man series did not like, because I found those comics too dark. Because as soon as Doc Ock became Peter Parker, it wasn't Spider-Man after that. You just gave somebody the same powers, but somebody who's meant to be a baddie and he's turning into good. Didn't care. It was too nihilistic. It's the same idea for different things. Judge Dredd is very nihilistic, but it's done in such a light-hearted way, the comic books, because it is a very dark future, and it is the law and that thing. But they brought in such crazy characters, PJMaybe being one of the murderous psychos. That's why I picked
right. That's where the names come from.
That's where the name comes from. It's because it's a Judge Dredd villain, PJMaybe, and I just liked it because maybe. But it's the fact that it depends how the nihilistic vision is brought forward. If it's a vision of doom and gloom, but it's brought forward with a bit of humour. Being Scots, we've got a very dark humour. We can make a joke at a funeral.
Yes.
We can literally. That's why there's always that expression. You have more fun at a Scottish wake that you do it as in an English wedding.
Yeah.
And it's just the
I can attest to that being English.
But it's just the fact is you have a sense of humour about that. A lot of people are the same, but I think it's the fact is how you present something that's nihilistic. I'm not a great one for horror movies, but I love The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, but that's just camp on a stick, isn't it? That movie.
It's Campbell on a stick. Perfect. But it's the fact it's still a horror movie. It's still gore, but it's done in such a light-hearted way that the horror part doesn't bother you. And that the way I think you look at it, you can present a nihilistic and a darker future, but if you do it in such a dark, depressing way, what's the fun in watching it? If you can do it in a more light-hearted way, still seeing the dark, the how it could end, but you can still see it with a smile on your face. And that's the way I look at when I'm watching something. I want to be cheered up. I don't want to be miserable. If I wanted to be miserable, I'd be happy to go back to work.
Yeah, because I need you two gamers, because I play bits and bobs and I watch quite a bit of games. So
I don't really bother with them anymore though, because they're basically asking for too much money, to be honest with you. You buy a game and then they expect you to pay for all these downloadable characters and stuff like that.
So for
I stopped playing games years ago. So.
Yeah, well, for Story Beats, The Last of Us, the first one, that is post-apocalyptic. It's zombies. Like, the opening scene's brutal, and it pretty much sets the scene that life can just get snuffed out in this sort of game. Don't get attached. I think that's. But I think that game has got that idea. Maybe not with the levity you were talking about, but the relationship between the main character and Ellie, who's like becomes his adoptive daughter. Like, their relationship is so funny and precious, and like she cracks jokes. She has like a joke book.
That's David Tennant's wife and Peter Davidson's daughter.
Georgia Tennant.
I remember that episode. I think and I think that yes, you're right. It was quite a light-hearted romp, as it were. Even the fish people. Can't remember their name, but it's the same as like the old monsters. The old Centarans. The new Centarans look amazing, but the old Centarans looked ridiculously horrible. So no matter how scary they could be, it was still done in a light way because you couldn't actually take it seriously because the costume was, you could see it was it wasn't so much that you could see it was a costume because you all know it's a costume. It's the fact is it looked as if it didn't even fit properly. So it was a tongue in cheek of a horrible monster. Whereas the new ones, they look fantastic. The way it's done, their armor, even the makeup just makes it look amazing. However, I didn't find them as didn't draw me in as much because the old Santarans were evil. They were out for galactic domination. Yes, you knew about the pods and they were being, what's the word I'm looking for? They were basically clones.
Yeah.
But the newer ones, they sort of went the other way, too far. They made the Santarans too much of a joke.
Yeah.
And that took it away from them. So going for something nihilistic and then making it farcical is different because if you can't take a character seriously, good humorously or nihilistically, then you still have to take the character seriously. So you can get drawn right, and if you like nihilism and dark humor, you can get dragged in with a good character. If you like good tongue-in-cheek humor, you can get dragged in. But if you're looking for something that was very nihilistic and then it suddenly goes, "Woohoo, look, he's a clown."
Yeah.
It sort of takes you away from that whole part. So to me, the Santarans, although they looked a lot better and it could have gone very, it sort of went the opposite way for me because they didn't go nihilistic. They went clown.
And like it didn't help because it had the character of the character of Jirax as well when they introduced Jirax as a sort of king. It takes into Aaron, I thought like even that had lost the whatever, and I'm like, I introduced a character like Axe because it evil is the Santarans because you were told because you were told constantly during the classic series that Santaran and that Santarans don't need an invitation to and start a conflict. But there's Jirax being a and I thought I hate that I hate that character so much and I said that as well on the TARDIS on Sunday during the Santaran Stratagem wrong that me and Charlotte were invited. Yeah, I said that even myself that even myself that kind of gathered up with this at this at the sort of updated and talents even after if they're the old Santarans because to me they're more sort of and because to me they're sort of and to me they're sort of more evil whereas the new ones are kind of a joke to be honest. You're right what you said.
I quite agree with you because they could have made them a bit more light-hearted, no doubt about it, but going to the fact where you see something and it brings it in initially and then it becomes a joke.
Yeah.
You look at the Weeping Angels. Initially they were very good.
Yeah.
And then you had the one with the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Nobody noticed the Statue of Liberty going from where it was in Ellis Island to that hotel. Nobody noticed that. and the city doesn't sleep, and you're sitting there thinking that the sleeping angels became a joke.
Well, I think Moffat, to be fair, he started that process when you saw them move. I really like the two-parter in Matt's first series, the Age of... I can't think of the title now.
The Time of the Angels and the Stone of Flesh or something like that.
Yeah, basically it was in Matt's first series, and it made sense in the story. But I remember watching that the first time and going, Moffat, the whole point is we don't see these things move, and you've just shown them moving. I was just like,
you would see them go like that, turn around like that.
You saw them like gradually.
The object of it was you blinked and you opened your eyes and suddenly they were there. So initially that seemed like a very good, and then they became a joke because they ended up with the Statue of Liberty as a weeping angel, and you're sitting there thinking, you could hear it walking, so nobody heard all that clump, 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 and went, how did the Statue of Liberty get there? And nobody noticed.
And it wasn't like it got a little bit close. It literally was like, how close by the end of the time?
It just, to me, that's when you've got someone who had a good idea, and then somebody says, use that again, use that again, use that again, to the point you're sitting there thinking, where'd you go with it? Why not have the occasional one-off monsters that you never see again, because you don't need them, because they're iconic in that aspect of it?
But unfortunately, this is a sort of balloon if there's ever evil as it goes. They became so they became so apparent on the same until the time you had the angels come back, you had the Cybermen come back constantly. They them Aster, and then the Dow each come back all the time. And that the eliminationists as well, because I think it's actually that that the Daleks have to appear in every series, and every series it'll Eastern Army, but that actually makes them for them appeal, and even offer in particular, I don't think enjoyed actually waiting for the weeks in particular, because actually the Daleks they had this sort of multi-award weeks. I mean, that episode is actually pretty stupid. It's the whole review with the Dalek paradigm really did annoy me at the time, because it was just a horrible, sort of design and a lot of scheme for the Daleks. I mean, I remember a couple of my friends at the time came up to me at school, and they all said to me, what did you think of this Daleks? And then right there in the end, I knew the Daleks, I knew that the Daleks had became a joke after that, and I think even Moffat in particular, or his Dalek his Daleks worries kind of put people off the Daleks from that episode onwards.
Yeah, what was your reaction then to seeing those Daleks as a classic sort of that being your bag?
The way I describe them is Duplo Daleks. We all play with Lego. We all love Lego, but we stopped playing with Duplo when we were kids. They're Duplo Daleks, designed for kids, not for anybody else. And I'm not talking about children. I'm talking about kids. They're the type of things that somebody maybe 3, 4 would look at and think fantastic. Occasionally, I am aware, considering the stuff that's in my room, I'm a big kid, and I can see something that everybody else goes, oh no. But to me, they're Duplo Daleks. They're designed based on the proper Daleks, just to make them look bigger and frightening. They didn't. They look silly. They looked. See, the Daleks throughout their history have got slightly taller each time. Didn't you know that? Because they got slightly taller, and do you know why that happened? Because the cast got slightly taller. So, like for instance, they were usually about eye level. So you had maybe Caroline Ford, Victoria, or so you had Vicky, that, and they were the stocks were roughly about eye level. And as the cast, the characters they produced got slightly taller, they didn't want the Daleks to look too small, so they made them slightly bigger, so they were slightly taller. And then you ended up to the extreme. You had the Duplo Daleks, which just looked awful. They didn't need to. Why does something need to look big to be scary?
It really doesn't.
It doesn't, but that's what they started doing. So as people were getting bigger, the eye stalk would get tall, higher up, so they didn't look as if they were getting looked down on. But because where you've got the perfect Dalek, why change it?
But I'm going to ask your opinion on an episode that kind of terrified me as a kid. But what did you think of the empty child in the doctor Angie's? Because I had eaten, Emma had eaten. Yes, about that for age. He's so that terrible.
Well, I'll not ask Charlotte. For a long time. I'll not ask anybody if you're my mummy. But no, I thought it was an unusually, and it was actually not bad as an episode. I quite liked the idea of it because you've got this boy, Are You My Mummy, going around with the the mask on. And at the end, it was because they didn't understand. They just saw the kid walking about. So when he died or whatever, and he got brought back, and the mask was part of his face, they thought that was just how all humans. Hence the reason why. And I thought that was quite a good premise because if somebody doesn't know what you look like, and it's like dinosaurs. You see them digging up dinosaurs, and over the years, the understanding of how they look. At one point, they were all lizard-like, looked like crocodiles, just taller. Then they've got feathers. Then there's all the colours because they didn't know what they looked like, so they just did a best guess on what they seen and such like. And then as it goes on, and I thought that was quite good because you would see people changing and suddenly getting. And there was a couple of good funny parts in it, like for instance. But only came in with one leg. You sure? Did you count them? That kind of thing. The fact that the premise was quite a good one, that the aliens didn't know what they looked like, so they just did their best to repair. And they needed to find the genetic, as in the mother. They could have used any human. They could have just said, no, base it on that. it didn't need to be the mother to fix the kid, but they used that as a genetic template, and I could understand that. But I thought it was an interesting premise, and it was humorous enough that it actually worked.
Yeah, I mean, now when you go back, as a pretty good episode. The time I never had experienced anything like that when that episode aired. So as a any so as a 10-year-old kid at the time, as a 10-year-old at the time, I knew that this was I knew that this was terrifying as an episode, but I had to I had to I had to tune into the second part to find out how the op are out of it. That's when I knew that this show had hooked me in is that episode because I knew it was terrifying me, but I knew that I had I knew that I had to come back to it and see how the op are out of it basically.
Because it was clever storytelling. Yeah. It was done in such a way that you got terrified of it, but you wanted more. It's the same as, right, I quite understand that. One of my favourite guilty pleasures is a it was either 1945, 1955 movie called Them, Giant Ants. When I was a kid, terrified me. I used to have dreams, stayed in Glasgow in the tenements, and I could wake up sweating because I had a dream that we were all out playing, and then I saw them and we had to hide in the hedges, or at night we had to make sure the windows were all closed because it gave me nightmares. Kept going back to it.
Yeah, I think
it's now one of my guilty pleasures. But after I watch it, make sure all my windows are shut. And even now, it's just one of those things. If you've got such a good story that terrifies you but drags you back in because you want to know, it's the same as you can have a story that is so farcical, you can't take it seriously. But if it's interesting, it'll drag you back in. And that is what it's good character building, good storytelling.
Because I really enjoyed the Sylvester Toy Story together. You just one I say, and I know a lot of people hate the get into showing the I say, but I enjoy it because it's just it's just it's just a fun story to me, and I think as well that I think as think as well, and Sylvester's second season, I think that's when things had started to improve us Sylvester McCoy, and the end in season 2 and in season 2 and 26 you get his on this season after that. But like my next count question I'm going to ask you, have you been keeping up to date with the Classic series did that classic series updated 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 rape upsets because I've been collecting myself and because some of the interviews on them of the old it on the season 26 set that that the came out years ago as a good interview on it and you get like updated documentaries on it. You even get the option to update the extra on it, but you have to go onto the special features menu on your PlayStation or what it is to activate it though, but it's good that you have that option. And the John Nathan I'm not the documentary I was telling you about the other night. Actually, that documentary is a fantastic documentary. It's called Oh Man, I think
Yes.
and Nathan times are John Nathan and for yourself as well, it's a good sort of documentary to find out what goes on behind the scenes during the time in the 80s, because I'm sure that we're fascinated with all the behind the scenes politics and stuff and how the show will get cancelled as well. Shall we back the end? But it's a really good insight to John Nathan on himself. Have you seen that documentary?
You remember you telling me about it the other week? I've got recollections of seeing a John Nathan Turner one. Don't know if it's that one. I can't remember the name of it. And it was such a long time ago. See, I do like my collection. I don't get the DVD, I don't get the Blu-rays. I don't want to upgrade my equipment. The last time I upgraded my equipment, all my videos were gone, and I don't want to upgrade my equipment again. And suddenly, so I've not got Blu-ray, so anything that's on the new Blu-ray one, don't know. But I do love the DVD selection because you do get some good stuff as extras, and I love a DVD with extras. Doesn't matter what movie it is. Doesn't matter if it's Doctor Who. Doesn't matter if it's a movie, an old one. If I get the movie and it's just the movie, disappointed. Don't care if it's my favorite movie of all time. I'm disappointed. I want extras. I want how they made it. I want an interview. I want deleted scenes. I want bloopers. As much as possible. Some of the good DVDs I've got have very little extras and they're not as much fun because I could have downloaded them from Amazon Prime and watched them there instead of buying a DVD. But it might as well but I do like extras, and some of the stuff when I go through my DVDs, I usually do the extras first. Then I'll watch the program.
I like listening to a commentary because sometimes you've watched the movie so many times and you won't notice something, or the director will say, "Oh, we could have done this," and then suddenly you watch the movie after listening to the commentary and you go, "Oh God, okay, now I can
maybe
see what they were trying or how a character suddenly disappeared for no apparent reason." And stuff like that.
I'm the opposite to you. I'll watch maybe the episode of the first and then go to the extra as the writer after it. I suppose it's a different doing things, and I think maybe and I think maybe Eddie from Doctor is the same sort of a which is you do with the special features, because he seems to like to go to the special features of Austin and go back and watch and go back and watch the episode, but like I can't really I can't really share off the basically the basically like even using up a big name so important though, because like with the whole cancel culture and everything of physical media has become one worth, and it's probably I and it's probably why I ordered this either versions of the big funny short details. Is you panic is you panic is you kind of say to yourself like, how's this only if the end certain groups in society to such a degree that they'll end up cancelling a certain audio story or a certain TV show. That is why physical media has become such an important thing. No, Gary?
Yeah, it's see the fact that you have to worry about movies getting changed.
Mm-hmm.
Give an example. It's something that I heard a few years back. There was the old Alf Garnett
Mm-hmm.
TV show, and his character was a racist, right?
Yeah.
But as they said, he had to be, because the object
Yeah.
of him being a racist was you
Yeah.
were to laugh at him because he was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the object was in the show wasn't to promote the
Yeah.
fact that this is a great character because he's racist. This is
Yeah.
a funny character that is so ridiculous that we want you to laugh at him.
Yeah.
The best way to fight that type of thing is not by ignoring it happening, is pointing out how the people who do it are ridiculous. So
Yeah.
cancelling something and taking it out of a show because it might offend someone.
Yeah.
No, laugh at the people who do it, and then you don't need to be offended because they're
Yeah.
the ridiculous ones. So if somebody's
Yeah.
being racist, laugh at them because they're useless. They're
Yeah.
not important. If somebody's being sexist, laugh at them because they're not important and they probably don't know how
Yeah.
people work, because it's the old adage. Would my dad said to my mum once,
Yeah.
do you want to go and work? She says, why would I give up so much power by going to work for somebody else? I work here in the house and do what I want, not what anybody else tells me to do.
Yeah.
So it's that attitude. If you find it hurt, if you find somebody's ridiculous, laugh at them.
Yeah.
They're being ridiculous. Cancelling something because you find it offensive is silly, because they're there to show you how ridiculous the person is. You're
Yeah.
not agreeing with the racist, you're laughing at them because they're ridiculous. You're not
Yeah.
agreeing with the sexist, you're laughing at him because he's ridiculous. Because the best way to fight those things is to laugh at them.
Yeah, and I think, and I also think it's important to show how far we've come.
Yeah.
That
Yes,
certain things would have been allowable in television language or image, and here's like a more sort of, I'd say, harmless version of it. Like, how many years ago was everybody smoking in television programs? Like, you watched
All the
anything,
time.
you'd be women, blokes, everybody would be sat there with a cigarette.
Yeah.
Now, if you watch that, it looks odd. It
Planet
looks
of
out of
the
place.
Apes. Look at Planet of the Apes. They're in a spaceship,
Yeah.
and he's sitting smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
In a spaceship, and you're sitting there thinking, how ridiculous is that? Because you would never see that on TV now, but back then they were having a smoke, no problem.
Yeah, they were having they're having a ciggy, as sort of the term was for every.
I'm a smoker. I'll put it out there. I'm a smoker. So, but I find it ridiculous that there was so much smoking. But that was a sign of the times. And being a smoker, it doesn't bother me that they're taking the smoking out because it's unimportant. It's why should we be bothered that the fact that they're going back and they're trying to edit out the cigarettes?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
why do that?
It's insanity. I'm a big fan of the sketch show, and I'm a big fan of the sketch show. Ew, 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 ew. Too bad, too bad. But even on iPod, here I go, yeah, I'm sitting here and you're like that. I did the move to bra on iPod, is it actually poking fun at right? So they weren't actually intentionally being racist or anything like that. They were poking, and because they were poking for on some of the sketches.
All for I never did like Little Britain. But I do appreciate what you're saying. It is they weren't actually saying this is how we are. We poking fun at people who are like that. And even see what you were talking about earlier, the cancel culture. A couple of years ago, I was at a Comic-Con and there was a wee girl dressed as Jodie Whittaker's doctor, right?
Yep.
And I thought, she looks good. She suited the costume. Yeah. And I heard somebody saying, that's not a doctor. And I'm sitting there thinking, just because you don't like it.
To her, Jodie's a doctor.
To her, it's her fandom. Yeah. It's not my fandom. It's not his fandom. It's her fandom. Why should she be criticised for liking something you don't like or I don't like? Why should I be criticised for something you don't like if he doesn't like? Yeah. That's what fandoms are. Just because I don't like this era of fandom, what difference does that mean to me that somebody else does? So the wee girl was this. I think it was a woman. She must have been in her, I would say, late 20s, early 30s, slagging her. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's a kid. Even if no matter what, that's a kid you're slagging. And you're basically telling her she's useless for liking that. Why? Why should anybody who likes something? I like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
I don't care if people else don't like it. I like it. The people I play against like it. That's all that matters to me. I don't mind. I've been called a geek. I've been called a weirdo my whole life because of my fandoms. Yeah. Still here, still smiling, still don't care. And that is the aspect of it. With cancel culture, they try to tell you, you don't like something, so you're out. Yeah. Why? I like Star Wars. Don't like the prequels, don't like the sequels. I like the first three. That is it. Don't have any of the other ones, don't care. Somebody tells me they're great, don't care. I don't like them. I only watched one or two of the most recent ones. I just thought, not for me. So I never went and see the last one. So it didn't bother me. I've got the three I like. A couple of my friends really love the prequels.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. And it doesn't bother them that I don't like them because we've got other fandoms in common. So I want to talk to them about the things we like, not the things that we don't like. So we'll talk about Babylon 5, Stargate. we might talk about Star Wars, the original movies, or but we don't discuss the difference between the prequels and the sequels and the originals. Don't care, because I like one, they like one, and they like one. Big deal. We just go to the fandoms that we have in common. And I just don't understand when somebody tells you, because you don't like it, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Then so there's only one fandom that everybody has to like the same thing. Why? Then what's the point in having all these other TV programs if nobody's allowed to like them?
Yeah, exactly. Well said, and it's a point that I've actually tried to make in some of my past streams as well, because me and Charlotte have been doing these streams have been doing these streams for a couple um for a couple months now, because
God, it's been that long, hasn't it, mate? At this point.
yeah, and because as well, we get up with the Olsen Tennant and Smith. If Iris I know this would oh, I know this would alter whom if both actually is on channels like it this own and like talk for the alter and very other and channels that are you need to have a voice. We've actually we said um we've actually we said we don't like the Jodie with the career, but some of the acts that I've got for are saying that I don't like the some of the attacks that I've got and other people have got for saying are saying the fact that we don't like the era has just it's became bizarre almost.
It becomes bizarre. You look at it, right? You've got some people who say, if you don't like Jodie Whittaker, then you must be a sexist.
Yeah.
If they actually remade Buffy and made him Buddy, I would hate Buddy. I would prefer Buffy, the Vampire Slayer. I don't want Buddy, the Vampire Slayer, because that's not who the role is. So I can understand why. I don't understand why people think because you don't like it, you must be sexist.
Yeah.
And I've heard women who don't like it be told that they are internally misogynist.
Oh, I've not quite.
So how can you tell a woman that they're a misogynist because they don't like another woman? To me, that's silly.
Yeah.
If you like it, fine. That is for you. If you don't like it, fine. It's not for you. Big deal. But I can understand where people come from who like it because they wanted something different.
Yeah.
The first female, which is wrong, by the way, Joanna Lumley was the first female.
Yes, technically. Well, no, even before that, I knew who.
Yeah,
also Donna.
No. Just remember that was before. It was a comic relief, and it was Joanna Lumley who became the first female Doctor.
Yeah.
Which made 20 people who played the Doctor, who were named actors, because there was a lot of other early ones that played the Doctor in William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton's era that were just extras that ran across because they couldn't do it and they were running in the distance. But there's been 20 people named who have played the Doctor on TV.
Yeah.
Apart from the 13, right? Then you've got the movie, Peter Cushing. So that's 14. You've also got Hurdell, who played in the Five Doctors.
Yeah, in the Five Doctors.
Right? 16. You get the War Doctor.
John Hart.
John Hart, right? And then you had Rowan Atkinson and Joanna Lumley. 20 people who have played the Doctor.
Yeah, and
who's at first at what? Does it matter?
Yeah, and technically, and technical ism, you can kind of kill with the devil, and you can kind of kill with the devil. Yeah, there's another incarnation
Yes,
if you want.
it is another incarnation, which to me, he should have been brought in earlier. The Valiard is out there, you should have the Valiard. Although, you can actually also say that although there has been 13 in the TV show, not including the War Doctor, there's 13. Technically, it's not 13. You look at Patrick Troughton's regeneration. He didn't regenerate. They changed his face. So technically, he didn't die and regenerate. He had his face changed. Like Romana would go in and out. So is that classed as a regeneration? Every time she went in and out came somebody else? No, because she was changing her features. So to me, that's what they did with the Patrick Troughton one. So Matt Smith would have been the 14th regeneration.
I think that just shows though, like the show's canon is just my thing right now. Like if there's sort of one conclusion, if I want to use that term, is I'm fed up of the show being obsessed with canon.
Yeah.
I want it just to go back to adventures.
That's the thing. Canon only works if you stick with it. As soon as you start picking at it, then you're unraveling it. Canon is just a jumper with a loose thread. You pick, it's gone. Because you can actually have the canon, but as soon as you go back and change something, that change has got adverse effects all the way through. So going back and saying Tom Baker was going to commit genocide, but he wasn't, because at that point the Daleks had already been created to do that aspect before, because he wasn't going after Davros, who created them. So, and then as soon as they start saying that you tried to commit genocide once, he didn't. He tried to kill war machines. If he was going to do that, it'd be like the Hitler attitude. Are you going to kill every single Nazi, or are you going to kill Hitler? What one makes you a genocide? If you kill Hitler, you kill the idea. If you kill every single Nazi, kill every single Dalek, who were basically an allegory for the Nazis. That's what they were designed for. And then Davros is Hitler. So you need to get rid of the idea, not the result. So him saying he was going to destroy the Daleks and that was going to be genocide, they were genetically engineered. So to stop that idea, he would have had to stop Davros before he got the idea. But then again, Davros keeps popping up, you know what I mean? He's been killed more times than the Master.
I was going to say Davros the Master. It's like who's worse at this point for just popping up for no explanation?
Although I can't complain too much, because that's how I've got my name Scottish to Avros on YouTube, is because Avros is my favourite character. I can't complain too much.
I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3 or 4 Davroses at least. I do like Davros. Second only to non-Doctor figure thing, mate. You're talking about Davros and K9. K9 slightly beats Davros in my estimations. I do like K9. Then Davros is just an iconic character. Then below that, so you've got the Brigadier, Sarah Jane, K9, Davros. They're my top 5. The Doctor, I mean, and that's my top 5. I don't care what incarnation of the Doctor, 1st through 8th. The only reason I include Paul McGann is because Sylvester McCoy was in that. See, if they'd started it after he regenerated, I wouldn't have included Paul McGann because of the half human on my mother's side. But because Sylvester McCoy was in it, to me, that's the canon. So the 8, after the 8, I don't really care. The rest of them don't bother me. I am aware of them. I've watched some of the stories, but
Can I just simply say though that I recommend you check out some of the again odd deals because he is absolutely fantastic.
Paul McGann should have been in instead of John Hurt. Paul McGann
God, yes.
should have been in instead of John Hurt. That's who they should have brought because Paul McGann is a great actor. Have you ever actually seen the Monaco Mutineer? I'm sure
I've not seen it.
No, I need to watch more of his early stuff, McGann, because I love his Doctor.
Well, it's one of the McGann brothers, and I think it's Paul. It plays the Monaco Mutineer. That's an old one. If it's not Paul, it's one of the McGann brothers, and it is superb. The McGanns can act. They are really good at it. And you can tell that was an Americanization mess up of that story of the Doctor. The fact that they had Julia Roberts' brother as the Master.
Don't get me started in his performance.
But even the fact is, the way they had the Master was a gooey monster. No, sorry, have you ever watched the programme? That's not how it works. Yes, fair enough, the Master has stolen bodies before, keeper of tracking. He basically has stolen somebody's body just to think me. So technically they've sort of used that bit, making him a wee ghosty jelly monster type thing didn't work. But it was just a laughably unfunny rendition of the Master.
Yeah, but you know what kind of annoyed me about that movie though? The whole sort of the whole sort of each the Doctor gives them. I use the Daleks putting them as are in trial. It should be the time odds sure. I use it up to the Eyes are up to the eyes are up to the to put them as are on trial, which should have been a hike, and so I was afraid it put them.
Because Americans knew what a Dalek was, Daniel. They literally probably thought, "Oh, we know what a Dalek is. We'll just use them."
Well, the fact that they don't understand that aspect of it. Yes, the Daleks could put them on trial if it made sense. Any other world could put them on trial except two. The Daleks and the Cybermen. Because the Daleks would just kill him. They wouldn't care if he was guilty or not. They would kill him. End of story. Exterminate. Bye. He's regenerating. Exterminate him again. Exterminate. Like you just keep going until he's dead.
Keep shooting.
Coming back. But that's the Daleks. So, and the Daleks putting somebody in trial is ridiculous. The Cybermen would just go, check see if he's guilty, make him a Cyberman. Take all his emotion out, and then we can control him. No problem. That's another thing. See, when we're talking about, I'm mentioning Cybermen. Did not like the Cybermen in the series to an extent. Until they did the one with Bill Potts turning into a Cyberman.
Oh, World Enough in Time. Because
they had split the two of them into two different Cybermen. So you had the Mondasian Cybermen and you had the Cyberdyne Cybermen.
I don't know what they're called. I forget the actual term.
The Cyber industry.
Was it not Cyberdyne, as in Cyberdyne was the corporation on the alternate Earth?
No, it was Lumic. What was it called? Cyber Industries, that's it.
Aye. So you've got the Mondasian Cybermen who came from the planet Mondas. Then you had the Cyberdyne, Cyber, whatever it was, ones. So they made them completely separate. And I thought the new ones sort of worked because the way they marched and stuff like that in time, more robotic than it was cybernetic, but whereas the other ones, but see, as soon as they did that one where you could see them all, and there's the Cyberdyne and the Mondasian ones, and you're sitting there thinking, makes zero sense. All they're doing is bringing them all in. So it's either bring all the old Dalek or the old Cybermen in to show this is Mondas, or you bring the new ones in to show it's not Mondas, it's the other one. Having them all mixed together made zero sense because they're all the same, but they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a fan thing. That honestly, I think Moffat was just being a fanboy.
Because the whole point of a cyber, the whole point of the Cyberman is to upgrade you into a Cyberman and make you look cool like you. Basically, that's the whole point. I didn't really get the whole idea of them joining together, because it kind of trade the original idea. You will be like also because you hear because you hear because you hear say that over the course of the over the course of the years of the shows, it never made any never made any sense. They chose to do that, and I think by that point, it was time for Stephen Moffat to step down by that point, to be honest.
Yeah. See, I knew Stephen Moffat was a big fan. I've always known he was a big fan because have you ever watched Coupling?
No, I've heard it's very good.
Yeah. The first 3 seasons are absolutely fantastic. 4th season when Richard Cole left and they brought in the Oliver character instead of the Jeff character, it went downhill. However, there was a few Doctor Who references in that, so you could tell he was a fan because he was hiding behind the cushion on the sofa. So he knew it was obviously written by Stephen Moffat, and he knew he was a fan of Doctor Who. And a couple of his other movie stuff on, was it Queer as Folk? Did he do that one?
That was Davies.
T. Davis, right? So you could tell the same idea. He was a fan because he had it. Was something I watched, and because I knew there was the references, because my sister or whatever would say, "Look, he's talking about Doctor Who," so I would see it. But it's the fact is, you could tell somebody was a fan prior to it because the stuff they had done before had references to it. You bring in somebody who any of their stuff before, does they talk about it even in the rugby? Then you're sitting there thinking, were you a fan before? Yet you've written all these things that are not even a reference to it. Stephen Moffat and Russell T. Davies, they put it in other stuff because they were a fan of the show. And you could tell they were fans of the show. So when they were involved in it, I thought, could be quite good. Until it's not. It's a case of, see when you're hit the high, leave, don't keep trying to climb.
Yeah, although I generally have a soft spot for the Russell T. Davies era because I joined the show as soon as the show came back with for Eccles. Then he had me from the very first time he come on the scared, almost, and I've actually said that he said to this to Charlotte when it's time off Jeremy as well, and I was actually happy, and I was actually happy when the announcement was made that he's going to be doing odd deals because to me I felt as though to me I felt as though he had to get another series, but BBC stabbed him in the back with all the stuff that he mentions in his autobiography. BBC stabbed him in the back and hired and hired and and hired him and hired him David Tennant as about him um about him having any knowledge to that. So to me, and it was announced that he was going to be doing the oddity. To me, it felt as though when he was going to be doing the odd details, felt as though it was something that I've actually, it felt as though it was something that I've always is that I've always been out and about um was to um um that he should have had another opportunity in another series to have as a doctor, and out to me because of his odd deal box sets are coming out out of that opportunity out of that opportunity how I'm getting the experience and how I'm getting to experience that opportunity because I really am connected to these or and I heard and I heard the trailer a couple of um and a couple and I heard the trailer a couple of years ago like like I could just not stop smiling because I knew because I finally knew the doctor that introduced me to the show as back and I've always wanted and I've always wanted that happen and it felt as though that I've got that to look forward. And I'm really looking forward to those ordeals, and I'll be reviewing and I'll be reviewing them on the channel as they come out. So I just thought I'd get the cheap pill again just now.
No, I for Chris's sake, I hope they do him justice. I think that's my thing with those audios because he left with a lot of bad blood. I think the fandom could tell he left with bad blood before we got the book last year, and because he didn't appear in the 50th, and a lot of people really wanted, even if it wasn't a massive part, they wanted Chris to have something in the 50th, and he didn't. So
it's basically they wrote the John Hurt part for Chris.
Yeah.
And he said no. And it was because of the attitude behind the scenes, as you said. But I must admit, there was aspects of Christopher Eccleston's Doctor I liked. I think his cheeky grin was too much like Tom Baker's. He sort of had the look of some of the earlier Doctors. It's the same as each of them. I think they've all had a quirk that they used, and sometimes that quirk pops up. If somebody's watched the show or been a fan of the show, you see them using it. Peter Capaldi. That's why I started watching again because Peter Capaldi, knowing he was a big fan. I met Peter Capaldi once. Used to drink the same.
Daniel's going to be so jealous now.
He used to drink the same pub as me in the town. And that was he had. I think he'd only actually done was it Naked Video or Rapsy Nesbitt. He'd only done Rapsy Nesbitt at the time, but he used to drink the same pub as me. And I didn't know at the time he was a big Doctor Who fan. But it was just a normal, hi, I know you. And it was just a nod, but he used to drink the same pub. So I used to see him in there regularly. I talked to him once. He's just such a nice guy at the time. But he was a young guy, the same as I was. I was just a young boy.
But like in terms of other shows I enjoy, like I can enjoy the 60s Batman TV series as you've seen me talk about to you. And stuff. I love us across that series about because I was recovering from a Jerry, and they were shown episodes on, I think it was ITV4 or ITV3. They were shown the episodes, and I instantly fell in love with the series, and then obviously a few years ago I got the Control series and on the that as well, and I really enjoy the series, and as she could say that it's as she could say it's easy and easy, but it's just with and I really enjoy Adam. And I really enjoy Adam. Adam. As Batman. I thought that was perfect and casting. What is your opinions on that series, fan?
I love 60s Batman. Basically, I remember seeing it when it was first broadcast in UK TV, so you're talking about 70s. So I think it was somewhere between 74 and 76. So I was about between 8 and 10. And I loved it. It was just so campy. But the thing is, it was watching it and with my mum, and she was sitting there going, is that who I think it is? Burgess Meredith, Cesar Romero, and stuff like that. And my mum, Cesar Romero, when she was younger, Cesar Romero was the heartthrob. He was, so any of the movies she'd watched Cesar Romero in, he was the heartthrob, the good-looking swashbuckler, the nice guy. And then you had Burgess Meredith. And seeing him in this. And then even with Burgess Meredith, I'd only ever seen him in things like Twilight Zone and movies where he was the serious character actor playing the Penguin. And it was just so much fun. Eartha Kitt is Catwoman. To me, she is Catwoman. Nobody else is actually going to ever replace Eartha Kitt. I know other people prefer different ones, and that's not an issue, but to me, Eartha Kitt is Catwoman. Same as Burgess Meredith is the Penguin, Cesar Romero's the Joker. Jack Nicholson's Joker and all that. Some of them are fun, some of them not. Keith Ledger's Joker. It doesn't bother me. They could be as good as they want. Still not the Joker to me. 66 Batman Joker is the Joker. Every time somebody mentions the Joker, that's the one I see. That's the one that I picture. Don't picture any of the rest. And I just think it is superb. It is good, fun. It knew what it was doing. It made a program for kids and adults, but it was for a certain age group, and they played to that age group. They didn't take themselves too seriously. They didn't actually play down certain things. You know what I mean? Everything was the bat something, the batarang, the bat bazooka, the bat doctor, the bat
Bat shark spray.
bat aye. You know what I mean? It was just, to me, it was superb. And I still love watching it. I've got my Batmobile sitting there. I had two, but I gave one to my nephew. So I've got my Batmobile sitting there. And I've had it for a few years. The one I had for a lot longer, I gave that to my nephew who sat and watched it one day with me. Loved it, so I gave him my Batmobile. But I think it's just fun. Good, clean, harmless fun. You can watch it and you can switch your brain off. You can pick up all the wee nuances stuff if you want to actually listen to what's happening. It's fun. It's just good, clean comic book fun. You could see the stories in there being played out on a comic strip. Whereas movies now, you can look at them, you would never have seen them in a comic book because they try and make everything bigger, better, darker, whatever. But 66 Batman, you could just imagine that being drawn on the comic book. It was just so much.
How did you mention that as well? Like, I managed to catch I managed to catch movie review. I can't remember the name of your latest movie that you were reviewing, but like I could kind of tell that was one of your favourite movies as well to watch, and you were given one up as a kid, because I could really see that you were enjoying reviewing that movie, and I think as well you said the guy the guy that was actually the main character in the movie was was either Ian or he was a show. I can't remember what you
Benny
said, but
Hill.
Yeah.
Benny Hill is a comic. You would have heard the Benny Hill tune. That's Benny Hill. Everybody knows the Benny Hill show. The over the top, silly, wee bit adult humour. It was postcard humour. But Benny Hill in this one was a very serious actor, and he's really good in it. But I like those movies because see a lot of the movies I do and I watch. I grew up watching them with my mum and dad. So I used to come home from school and sit and watch the 66 Batman, Dr. Snuggles, Power Rangers, things like that. And then,
Power Rangers. At least somebody
I think kids loved the Power Rangers, so I used to sit and watch it with them. But
that was me growing up.
But the thing is, I was a bit older, so when I'm saying come back from school, it's usually coming back from uni or something like that when Power Rangers. But my kids used to sit and watch them, so I used to sit and watch them with them. My three kids grew up watching all these programs. My oldest is a big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. She loves that. Harry Potter. She gets annoyed at people when they talk about being a Harry Potter fan. She used to actually read Harry Potter the first run. So she has got all the first run. So she read the books before it became popular, before the movies were out. I was standing there at 12 o'clock when book 6 was coming out, and she had to get it before. So I'm standing there at midnight outside the shop with her. But so she's a big fan, and see when people say you don't understand it, really? I've been reading it since book 1 came out, first edition, and she's still a big Harry Potter fan. She's a big Buffy fan. My middle one used to watch all the sci-fi stuff, but she's more into music now. So, and my youngest, she's been to Comic-Cons with me and everything. So she likes a lot. She's more into my anime, but all those things there. They grew up watching all the junk I used to watch and the rubbish I used to watch. Still watch it. but it's junk and rubbish, as long as our pals are listening.
So how many comic-cons have you actually been to?
I only started going to Comic-Cons, believe it or not, about 5 years ago. 5 years.
Oh,
So I've been to the Collectomania the last 5 years. 2020 was the first time I couldn't go. But I had already pre-booked my tickets.
yeah.
So 2019 was the one I met Katie Manning. Such a beautiful lady.
Yeah, the picture I see.
Aye, I've got it here. Hold on. Yeah, just
Oh, little our fairy godmother in the fandom, as she's now known.
she's just such a.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to share screen there.
So Daniel, I think is going to have to allow it. I think
Right,
that's how
so
it
I've
works.
put it up so you can actually see it.
And to screen.
There we go. We're getting technical. Look at us.
Basically, that's me with my scarf that my daughter crocheted for me. That was me doing my surprise, Tom Baker.
Yeah.
I used to have the wig, but I found it too hot, so I stopped wearing the wig.
Yeah.
A lot of hair, to be fair.
It is a lot of hair. But I've been to numerous Comic Cons, so I have. 2000. I've been as different things. I met Robert Llewellyn at my first one. That was 2013, actually.
Yeah.
Sylvester McCoy, William Russell. He's such a nice guy as
well. Yes, I've heard he's lovely.
I've even done my Red Dwarf at Comic Con.
Yeah.
Where is it? I've got a Comic Con one here. A Judge Dredd.
Yep.
That's me as Judge Dredd, or Judge Jack and Ellie. Yep. I built the costume myself. It's all EVA foam. Yep. And I even did Red Dwarf at the MCM Comic Cons. So I did. Yep. So I've done a lot of different stuff. Yep. There's me and my daughter at the Comic Con a few years back as well.
So what's probably been the thing, if you like to then make the outfits? I don't know the terms, so I'm probably butchering them. Like, what's the one that you're probably most proud of that you've put together?
My Judge Dredd one.
Right.
Aye, so I just take my sleeve back off. But my Judge Dredd one, just for the simple fact is the amount of build I used to do. See, because of this, I can't do it anymore. So I've got very little mobility in my right hand because of nerve damage. But I had to cut all the parts. I had to glue them. I had to mold them. I built the helmet as well. So the only thing I had was the badge and my belt buckle. I got them as gifts. And then from there, I built everything around it. But I've purchased a helmet now. I've got the belt buckle. I've got the day stick. I've got the lawgiver, the gun. But I had built all them initially. So I had a PVA gun with bits of, and that to me looked really good, and I was very proud of it. But now I've got the real. I've got a real one, a real fake one.
One you didn't make. Let's put it
one
that
way.
I
did make, one that I bought, and it's resin. But the thing is, I wouldn't take it to a Comic Con. Accidentally bump it, it snaps, it's gone.
Yeah.
So, but things like that. But I was very, very proud. It took me ages to get my Doctor Who one together. Don't get me wrong, because just everything. I took a wee bit. If I saw it, build that because I want to do that costume. Buy that because I want to do that costume. Got the jacket, £10 in a charity shop. Soon as I saw it, that's going to be my Tom Baker jacket.
You get you can actually customize your own sonic screwdriver.
I've got about 4 or 5 sonic screwdrivers, but the one I use on that is the Tom Baker one.
Yeah.
So I've not made a sonic screwdriver. Truthfully, you could buy them for about £6. So
yeah, you might as well at that price.
Why spend hours making one when I can actually get one and go brrr, and it actually works? Yay! But it's things like that. It's the Tom outfit. It started when my daughter crocheted me the scarf. Scarf is something I always wanted, and so for my 50th, she crocheted it for me. And that's where from there I started building around it. I got the waistcoat, I got the jacket, I got the trousers, even the trousers, because it's not something I normally wear. Don't wear brown shoes, don't wear tweed trousers, don't wear waistcoats. Not a problem because I do like waistcoats, but things like that. And then charity shorts for this and charity shorts for that. Even bought the wee question marks for my collar and ironed them on just so it was a wee bit different. But I got the what do you call it now? What do you call it? It's not a scarf. It's a
cravat.
Cravat.
Yeah.
I basically got that, so I had something like that. So it was just a case of I gradually built it in. Once I got everything in place, I started going as Tom. And I'm proud of that one, but I was more happy with my Judge Dredd, just for the simple fact is the amount of time. It took me a year of building.
Wow.
A year of building and painting, because I had to learn how to do all the EVA forms, so YouTube was great for that. I went on, showed how to make the stuff, glue it together, mould it, heat it, seal it, paint it. All that I had to learn to do. So I made like 3 helmets before I got one that worked. And the shoulder pad, the ego pads, the knee pads, everything I had to build. Even a pair of Wellingtons where I could put my gun in. Basically, I had to build round them. A pair of wellies painted with the foam round them to make them look a bit more futuristic and stuff like that. It just because it took me such a long time. I have got a couple of things that I plan to do for next one, and I've started doing.
But like, see me, I don't have. See me, I don't have the patience to do anything like that.
Wait till you get to my age and you'll have plenty of patience.
Yeah, you must have the patience of us. Must be patient. I just get on the internet and
That's because I had 3 daughters and I had to have patience if I wanted anything done. I always said I was born with 3 sisters bullying me, and I'm going to die with 3 sisters bullying me. 3 older sisters, 3 daughters. That is why this.
See, Daniel can sympathise a little bit, can't you now, Daniel?
Well, yes.
Because he will send me a message, and I will become his like big sister some ways, won't it? Isn't it now?
Because because she's always me off when I'm about to do something stupid with it. Yeah.
I've now become your port of call that if you're about to do something stupid, you message me, and I'm like, Daniel, don't. Like, just vent at me.
I've still got one of my big sisters that does that to me.
Yeah. Alpha, I'm guessing that's me. I've got some free time coming up in the next couple of weeks, so I think I want to watch Macra because I love Troughton and I've not seen that one yet, and everybody raves about that story. I'm trying to think if there's any more. I think Macra's what I do want to watch.
Yeah, the Macra Terra animation is a good animation. You should watch that because but as I was part of the email on in the TARDIS one and we watched that and it's a it's a good animation, but like to me, no, that is the best. That is the best put together animation because it just seems to me the animations after that aren't as good because the Fury from the animation isn't all that good, to be perfectly honest. Presentation
I was gonna
and
say,
so
PB, what's your opinion on the animations? Have you bothered with them, or could you like them, or?
The two animations, the David Tennant one was the one about Area 51.
Yeah, I meant sorry of the missing episodes, not
the missing
any of the
episode,
cartoons.
some of them are actually quite good, I must admit. The William Hartnell's and Patrick Troughton, that's the only way we're going to get them.
yeah.
However, was it I'm trying to remember the two I've got. The two fairly new ones. I got two at Christmas, and it was the two animated ones.
Yeah, one was probably Fury then, if it's the recent one you've got.
And there was also the Web of Fear.
Yeah, the Web of Fear, yeah.
I actually thought they were actually okay because they did the initial ones were better because they made them almost like the telesnaps and they didn't actually make them as if they're trying to make them real. They made them like telesnaps, so it was like slow move, and it was just like the telesnaps with a slow movement in it, so you could actually still hear the thing. Instead of just having a picture of the actors just standing, they try to make it a wee bit more animated, and I thought worked better. But the newer ones, where when they try and do too much detail, they're trying to make it more realistic, and all it does is actually realise that when you're looking at an old black and white one and then it suddenly goes into one, it's looks too clean. It doesn't work. Whereas the other ones where they don't look as clean works better because it's with an old black and white story. So you've got a couple of episodes and then the animation comes up and it works because it looks older. It looks as if it's from the time. And I think that's where it works is when they try and actually any new ones, I can see them doing things. They'll try and make it almost lifelike. There'll be more animation rather than cartoon, and I think that won't work because it'll be too clean looking.
Yeah, but you mentioned the two. You mentioned the two David Tennant animations. What did you think of them? Oh, PJ, if you don't mind me asking.
No. I actually saw them. It was a couple of years ago. I saw them. I have got them somewhere. But actually, the Area 51 one I actually preferred. There was I can't remember what the second one was about. I must admit, I know one of them was the Area 51, and I quite enjoyed that one because it was light-hearted. It wasn't you didn't need to sit and think. You could just sit and watch and enjoy without having too in-depth story. Sometimes when they try and do an animation one, they try and tie it in with other things. You didn't need that one. You could watch on its own. You didn't need to know anything before it. You didn't need to actually think you need to watch something afterwards. It just was a nice standalone story. It was fun. It wasn't too complex. It's something you could sit down and watch without the kids going, "What's he doing? What's he saying that? What's that for? What's that mean?" And I think that works quite well. And I quite enjoyed that one. I'm trying to remember what the second one was about.
Wasn't it pirates? I've got to remember something. It was pirates.
That's the very first. Because that's the very first animation in the second one was Dreamland.
Dreamland. Aye, I remember the name Dreamland when you said that there. But it's the same as the movies. What do you think of the movies? the Peter Cushing movies?
I enjoy them from I enjoy them from what I enjoy them from what they are basically, but I think they were more like orientated for children and because they were a bit more sort of and because they were a bit more sort of light-hearted in comparison to the Hartnell stories, so they were aimed more towards.
I thought they were
I enjoyed them for what they are.
I thought they were aimed more towards the general audience. Hence,
Yeah.
why they took the
Yeah.
he's an alien. This is just a man who's an inventor. They did that. But have you seen the theory around the movies?
Yeah, that they're canon somehow. I know there's a theory that fits them.
They're canon because it's just somebody who met the Doctor and is trying to describe him for a movie. So it's the movies that are real in the canon. It'd be like meeting an actual Martian and then going writing a movie called E.T.
Yeah.
That's basically, and I thought that's actually quite a clever bit of canon. And it actually works because, yes, you can just imagine somebody who's had the experience and try to sell the story, and somebody, you wouldn't believe he's an out from outer space. Make him a scientist, that'll work a bit better. And it actually works quite well. I actually thought it was quite an interesting theory, which to tie them in. But I have got them, and I do like watching them, especially the one with Bernard Cribbins.
I was going to say, that's one I've seen because I like his character. And I think he's probably got a lovely TARDIS introduction, even though it's not a traditional TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
I love when he first goes in. I think that's a brilliant introduction.
And I mean, if you think of it, he's been in different eras, and he's been in very different eras of Doctor Who because he was in the Peter Cushing movies. He's been in an odd deal with again as well. Because I think that was a series he done with Sheridan Smith and Charlotte. Because
it was. That's where he popped up.
Because I've reviewed that on my channel. I reviewed that during the very I reviewed that on during the very first time and he was also in series War of the New era of Doctor Who as well. So he's technically been in very different eras of Who, if you want to put it like that. And also he's and so he's always been a part of Who.
Well, he's just like joy on, like we were saying, like joy on a stick.
Yeah.
Like he's one of those actors that whatever character, even when he's trying to be a baddie, he's Bernard Cribbins, so you sort of like him. He's one of those actors, isn't he?
Yeah. He's such a good comedy character actor. You look at his stints in the Carry-Ons, he's just fun. I've got on my to buy list, it's called Cribbins. It's just a DVD with stuff he's done.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So it's on my to purchase list. I have got a line on a copy, but I've got so many other things on my list. It's still, I'm working my way up.
Yeah, and you probably you'll have to buy Sarah Jane Adventures as well because I've said as well that you would enjoy it.
I've got a couple already, so I've got it looks like part of the first season. So I've obviously got the pilot or the initial one, the Bean one.
Yeah, if Daniel is one thing, it's persistent when he's recommending things. I can say from experience.
the thing is, that's what we call fans.
Yeah.
If you didn't like something, you wouldn't constantly be telling people to watch it.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. But yeah, it's something I should be. But I should have the Sarah Jane. I reckon within the next couple of weeks. But see, when you were talking about audios, I meant to say the reason I've got a few audios.
Yeah.
I only listen to them in the car. My audios is only when I listen to in the car. But at the moment, I've got 3 book series I'm listening to. One's the Ark Royal, which is a sci-fi fantasy or sci-fi opera, space opera, and it's like 13 books. So you're talking about 5 to 10 hours per book.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the amount of time I've got that. And because for the last year I've not been driving, don't really listen to it.
That's not been happening.
I've also got the Bobaverse. There's only 4 books in that one. That's a sci-fi one as well. And the other ones I've got are The Wheel of Time I'm re-listening to.
Yeah.
But I'll listen to the first 5 books of Wheel of Time because the rest of the books I wasn't keen on. So I only listen to the first 5. I've got the paperbacks, first edition of the Wheel of Time, because that's how long I've been reading them. Yeah. Every time I used to buy it, every time a new book would come out, I would read every book in the series until so I was caught up. So the first book I read once, then the second book came out, so I read the first book, then the second book, then the third book came out, first, second, and they're all dog-eared, they're all falling apart, but I've still got them. And I did
but that's the sign of a good book, isn't it? If it looks like you've dog-eared it and you've done all sorts.
So I've been listening to audiobooks for those because I don't want to keep picking my books up because they're falling apart. So
we have a question for you from Santa Tony, and he asks you, do you drive?
At the moment, I've got the fun of public transport.
Yeah.
And that's fun.
Well, here's the thing: there's not as many people on it, at least nowadays, so that's good.
Yeah,
but I do like to listen to stuff though. Like I'm one of these people who can be doing a task and I can happily listen either to like music or an audio. Because I know some people can't do both and I happily can. So it tends to be more if I'm doing work, I sometimes will have something on in the background.
See, I can't do that with audio. I can do
you not?
With a video. See, if I'm working and a video's on the background of something I've watched numerous times, I don't need to watch the screen. I can listen to it and it's all pictured in. So I can listen. But I grew up with... my dad and my mum used to call me a square eyes because I sat in front of the TV. The difference between me and my brother growing up is if I did anything wrong, I got thrown out to play. He did anything wrong, he got brought in the house. So he was always out the house playing football. I was always in the house watching the telly. So I was called square eyes because I've been watching TV since I've been like 5, sat in front of TV, and I still do the same. So if I want something on the background, it has to be a video or something. So the TV has to be on. Don't need to watch it as long as I can hear it, but I can't listen to radio. Because I can't concentrate on a radio or even an audiobook if I'm doing other things. When I'm driving, because I'm in the car on my own and it's just me. But if I'm doing things around the house or whatever, the TV has to be on so I can listen to the program.
Okay. See, I find that hard. Even if I've watched something, I like to watch it. I could probably do what you do and just listen, but I prefer to actually watch it.
Usually I'm watching something for the 50th, 60th time.
I suppose.
So it's in there. It's all in there. So like all the programs I watch, I've watched them that many times. I don't need to sit and watch them. It's just the audio just to actually keep the story going in my head.
Yeah,
so I do watch the same things. Like I can't watch an episode. I watch the entire season. So, like, for instance,
I'm a bit like that myself. I get a bit obsessive. So
yeah. That's the thing. It's just basically we become obsessed with the things we like.
yeah.
And yes, I know I'm a bit obsessive. So, like for instance, any one of my DVDs collections, Norman Wisdom, for instance. I want to watch Norman Wisdom. I'll watch every single one of his movies he's ever done.
Yeah.
Then
See, I'm not that way inclined. I can binge, like,
aye.
but if I want to watch like an actor or something, I'll usually just pick like a series or. But to be fair, I will though watch something even if I've not got an interest in the topic if it's got an actor that I like. That
There's
I
very
can be a bit fanatic about.
that does, and there's only one actor I would say that I've watched things that I didn't like that he was in.
Yeah.
That's Carol Urbane.
Oh, okay. What stuff has he been in?
Well, he's been in. Obviously, he was in Star Trek. He played McCoy.
Oh,
He
sorry. Okay, McCoy. Now I know the actor.
Carol Urbane. He was in. He played Judge Dredd in the most recent movie. He was in the Chronicles of Riddick. He played one of the necromongers. He had a TV show about him and a robot, which I can't remember the name of it. And he was also in The Boys. The Boys I did not like. Too dark, too thingy. But Carol Urbane was in it, so I gave it a go. Didn't like it at all. But I do like him as an actor because he's been in so many things that I liked. So Judge Dredd being obviously top of the list there. But it's just
yeah. And I mean, Charlotte, I mean, let's be honest, if there's anything I thought this over, actually, I find it a solid guy, you definitely watch it. So.
That's the one. That's why I started watching The Crown because of Matt. And now I actually like it in general, but I literally started watching that because Matt Smith was in it.
It'd be the same as like I know one of my friends basically watched Guardians of the Galaxy because Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
I think I saw the first movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's characters I never heard of and I didn't care about, so they made me, but he loved it because Karen Gillan was in it.
Yeah, I think that's not. I think that's more normal to do that sort of, like you said, about fanatic. But there's still something that, like I said, I'll be like, I probably will not care for this. But as soon as the press release comes out that somebody's in it. Yeah. Like, there's another one, an actor that a fellow Scotsman, Martin Compston, because I love Line of Duty.
Yeah.
And like I literally watched another show on BBC because I heard that he was in it.
I'm saying nothing. My wife watched Line of Duty. She says it was fantastic, but I've never seen it.
Unfortunately,
new stuff. I watch very little new stuff.
Unfortunately, according to Charlotte, Charlotte seems to think it'll be all North that's been a few episodes time.
No, right. It's BBC, and my mum watches it as well, and she was a bit worried.
Yeah.
And because it's BBC, and if we all know, I don't know if you know as much, PG. If you see a bit of wokeness now in a BBC program, it just gets you a little bit worried. Do you know?
Well, I. The thing is, see, I don't really watch a lot of new stuff. I think the only one I'm watching is another actor I like, Alan Tudyk, Resident Alien.
Yeah.
I've not watched it. I've heard very good things.
It's interesting. But I like him from Tucker and Dale. There's been a few other stuff he's been in that I just loved it, but the only reason I watched Resident Alien is because one of my friends told us about it and says he's in it and he's really good in it.
Yeah.
Almost as funny as when he played in Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah.
And if you've not seen Tucker and Dale, watch that movie. That's hilarious. It takes the trope of the hillbillies killing all the teenagers and flicks it in its head. See, when you want to hear the expression "subvert your expectations," that's how it's done.
Yeah.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil is how you subvert the expectations properly, not just by going, "Haha, you thought it was going to be the guy that did it. It's the woman."
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got 3 older sisters. I know how strong women can be and how scary they can be. Sorry, sis.
It's all right, I scared Daniel. It's fine.
Well, because that's how she became my host on the channel, because because I kinda already told Charlotte I was jacking it in it for a couple of months ago, but she says no, you're
See, mate,
and she says no, you're not. So I basically we said so I basically we said to Charlotte, I'll continue on YouTube on terms and conditions. You become my co-host and become as everybody already knows by now anyway in the YouTube community that you've had a friendship ever since that horrible episode of the time with children. Your Charlotte and your Charlotte just came to me after the episode, because a few days after and I felt totally miserable.
Yeah.
Charlotte was the first pair, and Charlotte was the first person to actually reach out to me, and ever since that, the two of us have armed us friendship now. So that's how Charlotte that's how Charlotte became my co-host on the channel.
Well, I'll give you a piece of advice my mother gave me. If you want to do something stupid, see the boys. You want something fixed, see the girls.
Yeah,
and that's basically it. We start with things and we go, maybe no. And then somebody turns around, usually either a good friend or a family member, and says, stop it and finish it. And then we go, and it gets better.
Yeah. I basically told Daniel a version of that when he said he was packing in, and I said, no, you're not. You're going to regret this.
You would have.
And then he sort of went, oh, okay, like begrudgingly.
And that is the thing, you would have regretted it. The reason you don't regret it is because Smart told you. See, that's the thing. Always listen to the people who know. That's the way, because hey, Daniel, us guys do things on the spur of the moment, and we're usually stupid with it. But...
I've kind of realised that about myself, because I'll be when you're 6 and a few each time, so I'll never do stuff, and I'll be 26 and a few each time, because my birthday is in April also, and I know if I if I say that I'm going to jack it in again, Charlotte will go through me like a knife through. But basically.
Well, Well, you had me and Blue. I think that was the thing. You had me,
Oh,
and then
yeah,
the day afterwards you had Blue. So it's like a double attack,
and Daniel,
basically.
put it this way.
Yeah.
I'm over double your age.
Yeah.
Hey, in May, I'll be 30 years older than you.
Yeah.
I'm 56 this year.
Yeah.
You're doing the stuff that I wanted to do, and it took me until I was in my mid 50s to do. You're doing it half as young. Stick with it. When these old boys are faded away to dust, still be doing it.
See the majority of what it is a confidence issue, because I've never been the most confident person. I've never been the most confident person in the world, and uh, I've never been the most confident person in the world, and I think that's partly the reason I know, and I think as well, like I think as well, like I'm surprised at the amount of people and the amount of people like your age and like people like me and another YouTubers that are older than me actually I actually enjoy what I have to say basically because like I've always found that a lot of my more subscribers are actually the people that are actually older than me and can appreciate a bit more of what I have to say. But whereas when I talk to Doctor who finds my age, though, they just attack you constantly for having an opinion, and I think as well that's and I think as well that that's kind of put me off in the past with my channel and stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing. You basically, no matter how we think about stuff,
Yeah,
there's always somebody smarter to tell us to do it properly.
yeah,
And the good thing about YouTube, which I never had when I was young, even though, yes, I'm not as old as Alpha Omega,
yeah,
he just told me he's older, so I don't feel as bad. That
yeah,
I never had the opportunity. The nearest I got to doing this was standing in front with all my friends. But the thing is, Daniel, you're saying you don't have the confidence.
yeah,
I'm one of the ones who think I'm the most confident person around.
yeah,
My dad always used to say, "Of course you're confident. You're a Jack and Ellie." That was
yeah,
enough for us.
yeah,
If you basically, but just because we're confident doesn't mean we're actually good at what we do or we're right.
yeah.
You can always tell if somebody's wrong when they're a Jack and Ellie. They're the male. They're male.
Yeah, so just before we finish up tonight, guys, can I just say thanks for coming on and have you got any shout outs in your channel, EJ, before we finish up?
Well, thank you very much, Daniel and Charlotte, for having me on. I've had a wonderful time. My channel basically deals with old movies, TV shows. I've got a couple of right crackers on there I like. I don't know why people don't view them. So if you want to look at a good TV show, check out my view on Chance in a Million or Chelmsford 123. Two of my favourite shows of the time. And that's the two best TV shows I've got on. And I'm going to be doing more. I'm actually going to be doing a David Jason one. It's an old one that not a lot of people have heard about. Called Lucky Fella.
Yeah, you haven't already subscribed to PJ's channel, then link is down in the description. Whose channel are you appearing on this week? Because
Oh God, you make me sound like I'm like everywhere.
I mean, I've tried to talk you into doing your own channel, but like, I'm not.
You've got two guests here, Charlie. You've got two guests here straight away.
So whose channel are you even on? So whose channel you appearing on this over the next few days? Because you're into them and I buy a channel. So
when tech lets me,
yeah.
I know for certain Classic Who. I don't know the story yet, so I'll have to find that out for Saturday because I like to watch them beforehand. So that'd be TARDIS Zone. If TARDIS Zone Talks, usual thing on Friday.
Yeah.
And that's what I know. I'm sort of these if people say, "Oh, do you want to pop on?" I pop on. So that's usually how I do it.
And to be honest with you, I think you should actually set up your own channel. And
I now claim half of yours just by producer credit.
Well, I'll get the two years on mine. We'll do something like either a particular Doctor, or we might even actually do a 66 Batman review in Daniel.
Yeah, I'd be up for that if I can find it.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good because I've already got my set handy. So yeah, so it should be pretty good. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming on tonight, Charles. As usual, for keeping me in check. And as you said, when we first started talking PJ, we need more Scottish voices out there because I think the two of us are on a odd. We need more
there is a big one out there, the Critical Drinker. I'm sure he's Scottish.
Yeah.
Anybody that's got the name Drinker in their title, I'm sure is Scottish.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us in the comment section as well. Your support is what drives this channel. And
Thank you, everybody.
And thanks for all the support as well. And thanks for all the support as well, PJ, over the past streams, because I mean I've only just started myself. I mean I started in 2019, so it's still a relatively new sort of experience doing these streams. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end the podcast. Thanks to everybody in the live chat and the two guests again, and I'll see you again soon for my next stream. I'm not sure in the next stream will be or who the guests will be. But take care and stay safe and hit the subscribe button because I'm chasing down 100 subs. I want to hit that by the end of the year.
See you guys.